Hello, this is Leah from the Trillium Creative. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back, hopefully. This is part 2 of a tutorial on how to make a little grungy notebook. In the first part, which I will link below, we made the cover here. So we made the cover stamped in the background, and then did a little bit of decorating, put some label or a label on here, and then added an eyelet for the closure. Did some inking and kind of distressing on the cover, and now we are ready to put our signatures in. Now this is just a small little notebook, so the signatures aren't going to be anything real intense or real varied. I kind of stuck with a pretty simple signature here. It's going to be a single signature, fairly easy to do. As you see, I have different kinds of paper here that I thought I would like to use. In my previous one, I mostly used paper, this kind of paper. It's actually, I think, resume paper. I got it from a thrift store, and in some parts, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's like a little bit of a imprint from the paper company. So that's kind of cool. It's a nice thickness to write on. So that's probably going to be the main paper that I use, but I also have some ledger and some graph paper. And then also this paper that I'm really not sure what it is, but it has a cool texture on it. And I also got this from the thrift store. I thought I might throw a couple of these in there as well. Now the first one I made, I think I stuck to about 10 or 12 pages. We're probably going to do about the same here. So I think I mentioned on the first part of this tutorial that I measured, I kind of shorted the cover here a little bit. I intended on making it a little bit bigger than 5.5 inches, just so that the pages wouldn't go all the way to the edge. I've kind of looked at it, and I think it's actually going to be fine. They go to the edges on the top and the bottom, but there's still enough room on the sides that I think it's going to work. Now, I probably am going to need to round the corners of the signature pages, but I'm going to do that after I select which pages I'm going to use. So first of all, I'm just going to set the cover aside here and start with these pages. And I'm probably just going to do a couple of these, maybe throw in a ledger. I like this one because it's got the top that already has a rounded corner on it. And then we'll do maybe one of these darker ones. And because the edges of these pages are going to be right up against the top and the bottom of the cover, I want to make sure they're lined up exactly. Normally I don't really care much if they're lined up exactly, but in this case I kind of do. So then I'm just going to add in a couple more of the resume paper. And then we'll do graph paper. And maybe another of these. Okay, where are we at now? We've got one. The graph paper is really thin, so it's hard to grab onto sometimes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So at least a couple more. So we're going to put a couple of these in. Now the thing with this too is that with a single signature, the more, well, and I mean, this happens with even if you do multiple signatures, but the more pages you add to a signature, the more the inside pages are going to stick out further. So, because when you go to fold it, the pages that are on the inside of the signature keep getting pushed this way. So then you're going to end up with, instead of a flat signature at the end, you're going to end up with kind of this curved, rounded signature. So I don't think I'm going to add any more. I mean, I don't mind a little bit of that, but I don't want it to stick out real far. So I think I'm going to stick with this number of pages. So this is right at 10. So we can set the rest of these aside. And then we're going to move on to actually sewing them into the cover. So I like to, even with this small of a signature, I like to paper clip my signatures to make sure that they don't move around on me. And then I like to mark usually on a full journal, I'll mark the inside of the signature where I want the holes to line up, especially because I usually have multiple signatures. Now on this one, it doesn't matter as much because it's just one signature. So we probably don't need to do as much marking and whatnot. But let me get some paper clips to clip these up with. All right, so I forgot to grab those beforehand. Okay, so these are the little bit larger paper clips. So I'm going to make sure that everything is lined up tightly. And then I'm just going to put one on this side and then one on the bottom side on this. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and clip this to the cover and just do it all in one. Do I want to do that? Oh, I still need round corners too. Okay, getting ahead of myself. I'm going to go ahead and round corners with my corner chomper, which is the same I used as the cut for the cover, just to make sure that they're the same curve, size, whatever you want to call it. I don't think you probably need to watch all that, so I will do that off camera, and then I'll meet you back once they are rounded. Okay, I have finished rounding the corners of all the pages. Now, they're not going to line up exactly once we get this sewn in, but that's okay. And that's totally, rounding the corners is really just an optional thing. I'm mostly doing it so that the corners the corners of the pages don't show beyond the cover when you open it. So that's really a personal preference. You can or don't have to. Okay, so what I've done is I've clipped it to the actual cover. Normally I would not do this, and it would be very difficult to do this if you're doing like a larger actual journal, but because we're just doing a small notebook with one signature, I can do that. I am going to use a pokey tool. So I believe the official name for this is an awl. I got this in a book binding kit from Amazon. They're very easy to find. The kit included like 3 different spools of waxed thread and then several different sizes of needles. So it's very easy to find these kind of tools, and they're not very expensive. But what I'm going to do on this notebook is the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, which I believe is pretty common for bookbinding. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. Now you can, if you want to be more precise, you can definitely measure this out and mark it. But since it's just one signature and it's just, we're just doing it all at once, the pages and the cover, precision is not that important to me. So I'm going to eyeball the center here, and I'm going to kind of bend the cover a little bit so that my all gets right in the crease. And I'm just gonna slowly, I'm really keeping the awl on flat to the surface of my desk, and then poking it through the paper and the cover. Now, this is what I found. This is the method that I found gives me most control over what I'm doing. You'll see different methods on how to do this, but this is what works for me. So if this is not the easiest way for you to do it, by all means, do what works for you. But this is just how I do it. Now I'm going to eyeball about, it's probably like a ½ inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the cover down into the signatures for the next one. Again, I'm just going to kind of bend and then keep my awl flat to the desk and poke through all the layers. And then I'm going to do the same on the bottom. All right, so there you have it. We have 3 holes that we are now going to stitch through. Okay, I'm going to put my little protective thing back on my pokey tool because it is sharp. Okay, so now we're going to measure out some string for this. General rule is you want 3 times the height of your book that you're making. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then I do a little bit extra. And we just cut this with scissors. And then we're going to use a needle. And I don't have a needle threader. I just put the end around the needle, squeeze it tight, and then feed it through the eye. All right, so you want a little bit of a tail. And then the first hole that we're gonna go through is the middle. And again, I'm gonna kind of hold it flat to the desk and make sure, kind of keep an eye on the other side, make sure that my needle's coming through where it should. And then you're gonna pull it through, but not all the way through, obviously. Leave about the width of the page here. And then we're gonna go up or back in the top. And this is the somewhat difficult part, is getting it back in this way. All right, so my needle's coming back through there. Sometimes it requires a little jiggling to get through the hole. There we go. Okay, and then we're gonna go back out the bottom hole. And then the tricky part is going back in the middle hole. And the reason it's tricky is because there's already a string in there, or it can be tricky. I may be getting lucky this time. You don't want to split the string or thread that's already there. All right, so then we've got, you want pieces, the tails on both sides of your string or piece that goes through the middle. And then you just kind of pull it tight. You don't want it so tight that it's going to like tear the paper, but I don't like loose threads on the outside. So, and you can grab the thread and just pull it. All right. So then we've got one on each side, and then we're going to knot it. So we're just going to tie like that, and then the other direction. And for this, it's a small one. I only feel the need to do one, or I should say 2 knots. On my larger journals, I will do like 3 or 4 even, depending on what it is. But this is wax thread, so I'm not like concerned about it coming undone really. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim these shorter so they're not in the way. And there we have it. We can take our clips off. And our signature is sewn in. Now you can kind of, I like to kind of fold it back and forth and make sure that it's good and creased. And there we go. All right, so now we are ready to decorate. Now on the last one, I decorated the inside of the covers. And I think we'll do that last. The only decorating I did on the pages, because I wanted to leave them somewhat plain, so there's lots of room for writing, I just used washi stickers. So I grabbed some more mushroom stickers here. So I've got some small ones, I've got some really large ones. And I'm just gonna kind of scatter them throughout. I don't know if I'm gonna use the big ones because they take up a lot of room on the page, but I'm probably gonna go ahead and do one on the front page. I really like this one. I think this one's my favorite. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put them in. And obviously you can do this however you want. You don't even have to use mushrooms. You could use something else. I was thinking the other day about how I'd like to do one that's like moths or something like that. And then I just make sure it's rubbed onto the page well so that it blends in, looks like it was almost printed there. And then I'm just gonna go a couple more pages in. And actually, I think the next one I'm going to do is the center of the signature here. Yep, I like that. There is one roll up. Oh. And stick to itself. All right. All right, so we've got all our stickers placed, just kind of scattered throughout the book. All right, so the pages are good. I think we'll start with the back. So what I did last time was I took some die cuts. I have this set from Sizzix. It's a Tim Holtz set. I was trying to look for the name. It's a thinlet set, but here's the number. I think you can still buy it at most of the places. I happen to get it from scrapbook.com, I believe. But I really like this set. It has the little mini folder, it has a specimen card, and then some other little labels. It also has some of these words, which I haven't really used yet. But I've already used like the tab and the specimen card and the folder a lot. So that's worth the buy. Worth the money, I should say. Okay, so we're just going to start with the folder here. And we're going to do some stamping. So I'm going to get my stamps out here. So the last one I did, or I should say the first notebook I made of this, I did stamping on the front and then some decoration on the inside so that when you flipped it open, you saw, a little scene. And I think I'm going to do the same thing. So again, I'm going to get my Tim Holtz stamps out, and I'm going to go ahead and use the same green stamp that we used before, and we'll get started on that. All right, so again, I have the Moth Study set and the Field Notes stamp set. And I'm going to do a similar design as what I did on the cover here. Just kind of a simple little collage of stamping. And I want to use the round one. Specimen label. So I'm just picking out a few larger stamps, not like the really big one, but so I start with a little bit larger and then I work my way down and fill in the gaps. And I only want to do the front part of this folder because the back isn't going to be seen. We're basically going to be making this into a pocket. So yeah, I'm just going to focus on the front of the folder. So the front of that is decorated. Now I think I might want something here on the tab. Oh, that fits perfectly. All right. Perfect. Okay, so I think stamping is done. I may want to do a little bit of background here. Last time I actually used a piece of corrugated cardboard and stamped kind of irregular lines across. I don't think I want to do that. I liked the look of it, but I think I want to do something different. So I do have this stamp, which I like to use. It kind of looks like bubble wrap. And I don't know that I want to use, do I want to use green? Yeah, I think I'm just going to stick with what I've been using. So I'm just going to do this lightly, and I may actually off stamp once, just lightly. And then we're just going for some background texture. So again, I'm going to stamp off and then lightly on the folder. Getting inky fingers, which is not abnormal, at least for me. I want a little bit more up here, just the edge. It's hard to say when. Just a little bit over here. All right, so that is good. We'll go ahead and close the ink pad. And then we're gonna decide what we want to decorate in here. So I think I want to use some cutouts here. Fussy cut mushrooms. Might be a good size. Oh, that one might be good too. These ones are really tiny, so I think we'll leave those. Did I try that one? I really like this one, but it's kind of small. See what else we got in here. I think that one's too close to the color of the folder. Okay, I kind of like that one, even though it is very similar color. I think we need something behind it. So I don't have my scrap bin out. I'll be right back. All right, I have my scrap bin. It is very full at the moment. I think there's some things in here that I don't, like bigger pieces that I don't need in here. So I need to clean it out, and reorganize. But I thought some brown packing paper might look nice. Okay, we need a bigger piece. That's better. We need more. What do we need some like pattern, I think. We're definitely going to need a label. And I think we need to ink around the mushrooms here. So let's do that and see what it looks like. So I'm just using the Walnut Stain Distress Ink, which is the same color that I used around the edges of the cover. Just keeping things consistent, I guess. And I like, it gives it a little bit of a dark, grungy edge. Especially because these particular fussy cuts, the image that they came from had kind of a greenish background, and we're looking at putting it on a greenish color ledger. So I want it to kind of stand out a little bit more. And actually, while I have it, I'm gonna ink the edges. I think last time I actually distressed the edges of the folder too with my sanding block. I'm gonna do that real quick. All right, so that is grunged up a bit, so that's a little bit better. Okay, so back to our collage here. That looks a bit better. I almost wonder if it'd be better if the green was a little bit further away from the mushrooms. I kind of want them layered up here, so all right, and then we'll have some sort of label here. I'm liking that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and glue these bits down, and I'm just using my glue stick, Scotch Creek glue stick. Really, any glue stick that you like will work. Get this little edge here. And then I'm going to go ahead and use art glitter glue for these just because they're a little bit thicker material. Just gotta be patient sometimes, which I'm not very good at. Oh, and actually I should have done the other one first because we're layering. It's behind. It's going to be behind. So this is gonna go towards the top. One thing with art glitter glue that I keep forgetting is that once you stick it, it's stuck usually. Like you can't really move it. I'll just put a little extra on here because some of this is probably dried. It dries very quickly, so. Well, yeah, I'm going to put the pen back in here just for now. And then I want to find a label. Okay, here is one of my main books here. So I think we want a little bit larger one. That blends in too much. We want red. Actually kind of like the red. We have to try different ones out, you know, see how we like them. I think that's too small. No, I want one going this way. Landscape. I like that one. Okay, we're just gonna go for it. Put these back. And I'm gonna ink this real quick. I kind of feel like I still need something here. But what? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna go with the label for now. If I think of something later, I'll add it. But you get the idea. Just doing a little mini collage here to add some interest when the folder is opened. All right. And you can see a little bit of the collage above, but that's fine with me. Okay, so that is done. So let's add it to the cover. So, ooh, I must have made the other one bigger because this one barely fits. It actually doesn't really fit. Oh no. Okay. What are we gonna do about this? Do we put it sideways? No, that's not gonna work because then okay, I'm gonna have to think about this. I'll be back. I figured out a solution. So, you notice my folder looks a little bit different around the corners especially. I ended up just taking a craft knife and cutting off a sliver on each side, about that much. So it fits now. I would not recommend doing it that way, but you know, sometimes these things happen. So last time I must have measured the cover a little bit differently. And this is what happens when you freehand things. So anyway, so it fits now. Last time I glued this in as a pocket, so on all three sides, the sides and the bottom, and it made it difficult to clip it shut. So I think this time I'm going to just glue it on one side and the bottom and make it more of like a tuck, and then that way I can have the paper clip on this side and it'll be a little bit easier to clip and unclip. So I'm going to go ahead and use art glitter glue to glue this in. And so we're going to go down this side if my art glitter glue will cooperate. And the bottom. All right. And then I'm not going to put it right at the edge of the cover, but near the edge, near the bottom edge, and then just press that in. All right. And then I think I still have, yeah, I have some little mini, sorry for the shaking, I have some little mini Tim Holtz paper clips. So I'm just going to clip that here on the side. And then I think what I want to put in here is similar to what I did last time. I have these pages from a nature book, and I just kind of, I think I just kind of folded one up and tucked it in there. I think I'll do this one. Let's see, how did I do that? Yeah, because I kind of want the little mushroom tag to show. So we'll do that. And if you don't have a nature book to pull pages from like this, you know, you can put just plain paper in here. It's going to be a little tall, so I might trim. You know, I think maybe I'll just fold it up a little bit higher. I don't really want to trim the page. And then like that. All right, so there's some interest there. So that's done. You could clip some other things inside the folder if you wanted to, but I also don't want this to get super bulky. So, okay, so that's what we've done so far. I think I'm gonna end the video here, and then the next time we'll do the front inside because there's a little bit more involved with that, and then we'll finish the notebook out, and yeah, and then that way hopefully the videos aren't super long. So okay, so this is what we have so far, and I will see you in the next video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with any of your crafty friends, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.